Welcome to Shifting Veils. My name is Michelle.
And I'm Isaiah. And in this episode, we are going to retell some unexplained, possibly paranormal, and strange stories from park rangers and hikers.
I'm going to giggle because I'm not a park warden. But for right now, I'm a park warden. So, this is stupid. Okay. I'm a park warden. I'm sorry. I'm a park warden. It's one of those things if you keep saying it, it sounds more and more funny. Or maybe it's just to me. I spend most of my shifts alone between 5:30 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. in the Canadian wilderness. There's about 300 campsites, a handful of beaches, and the infrastructure that goes with them, like showers and restrooms. It just so happens that my park is closed for the winter, which is standard feet upon feet of snow and blistering fucking cold. So there is no staff in the park from mid-October to early April. Years ago, a man decided to end his life via sawed-off shotgun down by the river on one of the beaches in late November. No one found him until the spring melt. This beach is at the farthest north point of the park and is pretty isolated. But since there is at least one beach, it requires at least one patrol an evening. I was down at the showers at that specific beach around 7 p.m. on a very overcast day. There was no sun to create shadows. I was checking the supplies in the first aid kits and signing off on fire extinguishers. The weather was gray and blah, so there was no campers or patrons anywhere near the beach, and the parking lot was empty except for my cruiser. All of a sudden, a feeling of intense panic washed over me, and I booked it back to my cruiser. Get in, slam the door, and take a few deep breaths and wait for the feeling to pass. After a minute, I get back to business and start filling out binders and work logs while in my cruiser. Suddenly, a large dark shape moves across my driver's side window, and I scream and jump away from my window. My immediate thought was someone was lurking and was about to try to smack my window or open my door. However, sure as shit, there was no one around, and you can bet your ass I left any and all future maintenance tasks in that part of the park to be done by the day shift. I left with a giant fuck that. It rattled me, and I refuse to do foot patrols down there even now, 3 years later.
Makes you think of the shadow people sort of thing when you get that glimpse or that feeling.
I don't like that feeling. That is,
Hmm.
and it's just like everything will be fine, everything's great, and then all of a sudden, doom.
Yeah.
It's like the little aliens in Toy Story in the claw machine. Doom
Hmm.
on you. That was. Wait, was that? Wait, I'm thinking of
No,
Nemo.
that I was gonna say that
It was
wasn't.
Finding Nemo. I'm so mixed up.
I was gonna
Gosh,
say
I
the
gotta.
aliens were. What was it? The claw and
The claw has.
choose
I've been
me or something.
chosen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so mixed up. I gotta rewatch the movies, it seems.
Those are childhood days. Not even
Mm-hmm.
childhood, teenager days.
I'm okay with that. I'll rewatch them.
Well, you are a park warden. I'm a park ranger and work at a pretty remote desert park. This happened before I got there, but the other rangers I work with were there. They went to do a patrol during summer, our off season, at one of our seldom used campgrounds. On a patrol, our maintenance ranger found a burnt out car in one of the sites. The desert is a weird place, so he just calls the sheriff and waits. Sheriff arrives, and it turns out there's a body in the driver's seat with no arms and no legs.
What?
Just a just a torso and head, burnt. Sheriff's just marked it as a suicide and removed the vehicle. We're close to Mexico and get a lot of illegal drug traffic, so I guess they don't even bother trying to solve these.
They just, that's it. They just called it a suicide.
They'd called it a suicide. But I mean, if there's cartel activity, I assume that, you know, some of these local officials don't really have the manpower to go up against a cartel or anything like that.
I
So,
guess not, but crap.
but yeah,
That's wild.
getting swept under the rug.
Okay. Yeah, I just still don't get it as suicide, but it was just a
Right.
torso.
I mean, do you ever just get that feeling to cut your own arms and legs off? And
Right? Okay, but yeah. Anyway, that's just wild. There was a group of teens that hadn't been heard from after their scheduled return time from a camping trip. A coworker and I head out in the general direction the teens had set off in. We'd been hiking for most of the day and had seen nothing. We're about 35 kilometers into the woods at this point when we start noticing odd things. Sticks carved like spears stuck into the ground, weird carvings in the trees, a child stuffed animal hanging from a noose up in a tree. That's not creepy. This place was nowhere near any roads. It wasn't on the regular trails people would go on in the area. The really eerie thing was that everything was freshly carved. Somebody had been there within a couple of hours of us and made these things. Mind you, we're still looking for these teens. We keep on hiking and eventually made camp for the night, still kind of on edge from what we had seen earlier, but we settle down anyway and go to sleep. We get up with the sunrise, hoping to cover more ground before it gets too hot. We pack up the gear and get ready to go when I notice a bit of shirt that had caught on a small tree and ripped, along with some shoe prints. We were thinking, great, maybe we're close by the teens when a radio call comes through. The teens had just been found 20 kilometers east of us, and they're calling everyone back. All those weird things we had seen from the day before came flooding back into my mind, and we wasted no time hiking out of those woods. I think I would have too.
I'm not sure 20 kilometers as far as mileage is, but it's far enough to where these guys that are looking for these teens are like, that's we're not even in the general area.
No, I don't think so. It's pretty far away. I don't know. There's probably another group of teens just doing funky shit out in the woods trying to freak people out. Who
Yeah.
knows? Who
I mean,
knows?
there's a lot of weird stuff that people do. You come across things. That was like that whole. There was a app that made you wander off into different locations, and you'd go and you'd find different things. You'd like use the app thinking about like what you wanted to use or what you wanted to find,
Oh,
and it's like Randonautica, and you it took people to like weird objects that were found, like, and there was like one where there was a suitcase that was found under a bridge that had body parts in it and stuff.
whoa.
Yeah, so that's kind of what it makes me think of when people find those random locations that are really strange and odd. Anyway, in 1857, Galen Clark, Yosemite National Park's first park ranger, reported a strange wailing sound coming from Grouse Lake. Believing it was a puppy that was lost, he thought little of it, but when he asked a group of native people at their camp, they told him that the sounds belonged to a boy who drowned long ago, and since that time howls at passersby. To this day, tales of the Grouse Lake ghost are still within the park, with many fearing his harrowing cries.
Weird.
I
It's,
wouldn't associate wailing with a puppy. I don't. That's just. I don't
I
know.
wouldn't either. I don't know.
Maybe
That's
a fox or a mountain lion.
it. Yeah. Maybe it is a fox. I mean, apparently they make all different sorts of noises.
Foxes can sound like a woman in pain.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Now I have
scary.
a song in my head. What does the fox say?
Wow. And they say ding, 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 ding.
They say a lot of things. You know, it wasn't until then that I realized they made so many different. I didn't know what they sounded like, actually. So, it seems like they sound like a lot of things.
That song, according to that song, they sound like a lot of different things for sure.
Yeah. I hate how incredibly catchy that song is. Um, According to legend, back in the 1920s, when the Grand Canyon Lodge was first built, a mother, father, and son moved into the building. Wait a second. Oh, never mind. The husband and son decided to go for a hike on what is now known as the Transep Trail. During the hike, they encountered treacherous weather, lost their footing, and fell to their deaths. The woman went hiking along the trail before realizing that they were gone. She was unable to cope with the loss of her family and so returned to the lodge and committed suicide. It's said she haunts the trail itself, wailing as she moves throughout the trail. She has also been reported to be seen within the lodge itself where she resided. It's probably a mountain lion.
Could be. Unless you see a white gown. Then it's a mountain lion in a white gown.
Look at us, just debunking the shit out of everything. Sorry.
I was camping in the Wichita Mountains with some friends. We each had our own tent. I woke up in the middle of the night to find a woman with unkempt hair and torn and bloody clothing crawling on all fours towards me. I screamed and woke up. It was only a dream. A freaky dream, but just a dream. When my friends rushed to my tent to see what was the matter, I told them about my dream, and a few of them became visibly uncomfortable. All the color drained from their faces and insisted that we leave camp as soon as the sun came up. It was only after we had left the mountains that my friends then told me that all of them had shared similar dreams. But in their dreams, they saw a woman crawling into my tent.
Fuck no. No.
I mean, I have a few dreams that start out that way, but not necessarily bloody and unkempt.
No, 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 no. I would have been, That would have freaked me the hell out. I don't think
That's
I would. Nope. Never go camping again.
not in those mountains, at least.
I'd be mad. I'd be like, why didn't you guys say something last night? We should have left last night in the middle of
Because
the night.
you don't travel mountains or trails in the middle of the night. You get
I
lost more.
well, I would be lost more. Or everyone just needs to come sleep in my tent because that's
No,
freaky.
nobody's gonna sleep in your tent. That thing's coming after you.
That's messed up. That's not fair. Just leave me.
So how's it fair to bring everybody to your tent where where the thing is gonna come and get you?
Well, maybe it'll get someone else first, and I can get away.
No, you're being targeted. It doesn't work that way.
I don't know. That's creepy though.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was about 14, my family took a trip to Colorado. We were in the Pikes Peak area. At some point, my dad pulled off to an area that was a lookout and access to a hiking trail. We had been on the road for a long time, so we wanted to stretch our legs and decided to go up the trail a bit. My dad and brother branched off and took the trail that was at a more significant incline, while my mom and I stayed behind on the lower trails. We were enjoying just being out and the scenery when we started to feel a bit at unease. Like we suddenly didn't feel safe. We then noticed that the forest had more or less become completely silent. No birds, no bugs, nothing. Without saying anything, we both stopped walking and just stood in our spots looking around, seeking the source of this feeling and at the same time not wanting to know. We were looking in opposite directions when I felt a nudge on my right arm. My mom was pointing down the trail in the direction we had been heading. At first, I saw nothing, but then my eyes focused in on a figure of a man standing next to a tree. He was about 25 to 30 yards from us, looking our direction. It looked like he was looking our direction anyway, motionless and silent. Before I could tell my mom that we should turn back, he vanished right in front of us. I looked at her, she looked at me. We said nothing to each other and just started booking it back to the car, where we sat silently waiting for my dad and my brother. We didn't talk about what we saw until we got back home from our trip 4 days later. That's actually my story. That's my experience. um, there's no centralized or official database that tracks the number of people who go missing in national parks each year. While unofficial estimates suggest the figure may be in the thousands, the National Park Service does not publicly confirm or maintain a comprehensive record. On June 14th, 1969, 6-year-old Dennis Martin joined his father, William, grandfather Clyde, and brother Doug for their annual Father's Day outing in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. The camping trip was a cherished tradition among the Martin men, stretching back over 50 years to a time when their family helped till the mountain soil each spring. Though the land no longer needed tilling, the Martin family's bond with Cades Cove remained strong. Year after year, generations of Martin men returned to the area, passing down stories and introducing their sons to the landscape they once helped cultivate. For Dennis, this trip marked his first camping experience, but he was no stranger to the outdoors. From a young age, his parents carried him on their backs through the countless trails, instilling in him a deep love for the wilderness. Once he could walk on his own, Dennis often took the lead, confidently guiding adults along hikes with the boldness of a seasoned explorer. That sounds cute. It's a little boy just leading the way down the trail, thinking he's hot shit. After a successful first night in the Smokies, Dennis and his family met with the rest of the Martin clan near Spence Field. While their parents were occupied setting up camp, the children gathered together to conspire on a prank. Splitting into groups of 2, the boys decided to sneak up on their parents before jumping out of the woods and scaring them. Doug and his cousins would head south, circling the woods before coming up behind their camp. Not wanting Dennis's bright red shirt to give away the surprise, the older children told him to loop around and approach from the northwest on his own. Eager to play his part in the prank, Dennis stepped into the woods, excited, unaware, and never seen again. His father began calling and looking for him within 3 to 5 minutes of him being last seen. More than 1,400 people joined the search for Dennis, including Army National Guardsmen, U.S. Special Forces, Coast Guardsmen, members of the Smoky Mountain Hiking Club, the Red Cross, Boy Scouts, forestry students, doctors, and nurses. During the investigation, searchers discovered a set of footprints, one shoe on, one shoe off, leading south from Spencer Field. Given that Dennis's brother and cousins initially moved southward while trying to frighten their parents, these footprints suggested Dennis may have turned back in an attempt to follow them. Although this lead initially offered hope, after investigators made casts of the footprints, the Martin family concluded the shoes were too large to have belonged to Dennis. Many theories have surfaced regarding the disappearance of Dennis. Some have suggested he was abducted, while others point to the possibility of an encounter with dangerous wildlife, perhaps a bear or other predators common in the area. A terrible rainstorm hit within the first 48 hours of his disappearance, causing creeks and rivers to swell dramatically. It's possible he was swept away by rising waters. There are also more unusual theories involving Bigfoot or feral humans lurking in the woods, as well as the simple but grim possibility that he succumbed to exposure to the elements. But how far could a child his size realistically travel in just 5 minutes? And if he was wearing that bright red shirt, why didn't anyone spot him? These unanswered questions only deepen the mystery surrounding his disappearance. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, whispering secrets in the shadows, holding mysteries both enchanting and unnerving. Some draw you close with a silent promise, while others lurk just beyond the veil, waiting. It's this delicate balance, the edge of danger, wrapped in wild beauty, that pulls us deeper away from the safety of walls and into the unknown. I really don't understand like how he just like thin air. I mean, it was within 3 to 5 minutes that they discovered he was not there, and they're calling his name and looking for him. Like how did he not ever holler back? Or if it was a bear, wouldn't they have heard a bear?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of oddities to this one. Um, I know at some point the dad himself was actually kind of suspected.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just really weird. It's hard for it's hard. I understand like later on with the search, they were oversaturated. There were too many people out there
Hmm.
leaving footprints, and they just kind of like soiled the whole search,
Well, I
really,
mean,
because there were so many.
on top of that, the majority of the people that went out, including park rangers for the location, um, didn't actually know what to look for as far as like little details like disturbed ant hills and disturbed branches, broken twigs. They didn't. Nobody knew what to look for as far as like searching for somebody who's gone lost in the forest.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of inexperience, and I know that this particular missing case actually helped draw up guidelines as to how to look for somebody at this particular location.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just wild to me. I mean, I I know it seemed like for a little bit the dad was kind of hung up on saying that he was kidnapped too, thinking that he'd been kidnapped. And that kind of makes sense because that would explain why he was quieted, you know,
Yeah,
silent, didn't holler for help or just kind of vanished. But so then there's somebody just hanging out in the woods waiting to kidnap little kids.
I mean, that's not actually out of the realm of
I
possibility.
no, it's not, and that's bad. But it's just weird. I don't know. It to me, it feels like someone had to have been there waiting to snatch him, or it was. I want to say, like, for lack of better words, an inside job.
Well, I mean,
Mm.
yeah, there's also the possibility that there's just some random ass person who followed these particular people up the mountain and knew what they wanted to do. You know, we could look into somebody who is interested in children who wanted to take one of the children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, it just could have been just a random person that saw him in the parking lot of the park and was
Yeah,
like, that that kid's mine now. Um,
or it could have been Bigfoot.
and see, and that's the thing. That's the other thing too. Is like there's the thing is like if because it describes that there's jagged ravines and slopes
Mm.
and slides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If somebody falls down one of those, they don't do it silently.
No.
And so it's an odd one. It is an odd one, and I know that there's also the part of where there was another person. Last name was Key. Did you? I don't think you mentioned him in your section there.
Mm-mm.
Um, that was like 15 miles away or something like that. Had saw uh, a disheveled man run up the trail towards them. Had
Yeah.
like different cloth on his shoulder. Was holding cloth and stuff, and that kind of made more of a suspect for the father because I thought, you know, okay, because the father's already running up and down the trails and stuff, but with the distance between the the disappearance of Dennis and where Key is located, there's just no possibility there. But so where was it? Why? It also begs the question where who the disheveled man was. So
Well, and that's where the theories of the feral people being in the mountains. Like, and maybe they took him.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the theories that someone like a feral person took him.
Yeah.
I know there was another one where a guy was out with his um, wife and I think 2 sons and a daughter, and the kids were like, "Oh, there's a bear in the bushes," but the guy, like the dad, was looking, and it turned out to be a man that was hiding in the bushes and didn't want to be seen, but he was just a normal dude. He wasn't disheveled or anything like that. He was just somebody that didn't want to be like noticed. Um,
That's weird in itself.
and that was pretty far away too, and it happened within 30 minutes of the time that the kid went missing. So there was no way for him to travel that far.
Let's see, so
And
that absolutely does line up
mhm,
with the whole feral people up in the mountains. Then
and then I think, gosh, it seemed like there was something else. Oh, um maybe like a year or so later, there was a an illegal poacher that was in the area and had found skeletal remains that looked to be the size of a child. But he waited to say anything to authorities because he was afraid of
that's
he
right.
was getting in trouble because he was a
He,
poacher.
yeah, he was gathering up illegal plants
Hmm.
to remove plants that should not be removed. And yeah, that's right. He found the skeleton out there too.
Yeah, but when they went back to check it out, they were gone. The
That's weird.
skeletal remains were gone.
But that's also a possibility that the guy who was doing like illegally doing things could have gave him a wrong location too.
It's true. He could have.
It's just a possibility.
Or he could have been some sick dude that actually killed the kid, disposed of the body, and was one of those returning to the scene of the crime.
Absolutely
And
could have been.
I mean, there's just so many things. I don't know. It's just, it remains unsolved. He never was found that we know anyway. So
It could have been like you said, Bigfoot.
it could have been. Could have been. He could be off living somewhere happy with Bigfoot right now. I think he would be, how old would he be? That was 69.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do math.
he's not gonna be. He's too old. Let's see, because that would be 3, 4. He'd be in his 60s. About in his
that's
60s right about now.
that's too old to hang out with Bigfoot.
Well, no, but I think he would have. Him and Bigfoot would have probably split ways.
Oh, you don't know that. He might be happy out there. I mean, Bigfoot is, so.
Bigfoot's a different kind of entity.
True. You're not wrong. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a strange case.
It is. If you enjoyed this episode, like, follow, subscribe, and share with your spooky friends. And don't forget to send us an email if you have your own story to share.
We are done here. So I hope you will come back next week and listen again. You can watch our TikTok account throughout the week to get hints of what the next episode will be about. Be careful out there. Question everything. And if you take the trail less trodden, be sure to pack enough water, charge your batteries, and bring a compass. Until next time, we'll see you in the shadows.